Alois Irlmaier was a dowser and well digger who lived in Freiselassing, Bavaria. He was at the most a simplest level a visionary. Secularists would and have tried calling him psychic. For example, from the moment he had a simple vision of Our Lady, he began identifying water veins wherever he passed them, and so he concentrated his physical labor on building wells, which was how he earned a simple living. He gained notoriety, though, because of his visions, which also earned him accusations of being a warlock, despite his being a faithful Catholic, who also used his dowsing skills to locate missing persons. His fame, however, grew from his prophetic visions of a Third World War, an attack on the Vatican that causes the Pope to flee, a revolution in Russia and much of Europe, a terrible event involving 72 hours of darkness, a warming climate, and the sinking of 3 large cities under the sea, as well as an invasion of the United States. Irlmaier described his visions appearing to him like a movie. He experienced much of the information as numbers, which he did not understand. An example of that was his vision of people talking into and playing with Zuban boxes. Zuban is or was a brand of cigarettes. In other words, he had visions of people talking into and playing with what he thought were cigarette boxes. Think about that for a moment. He predicted his own death in July 1959, saying before he died, "I am glad that I can go now because I won't have to experience what I see." His visions provide a kind of order of events for the coming great chastisement. I leave you to believe them or not. Here I will focus on his visions of the period leading up to and including the Third World War. Now I present the prophecies and visions of Alois Irlmaier. Girl, you will see a great overthrow which will take place. First, there is prosperity as never before. Then people apostatize as never before. Then a decay of morals as never before. Soon, a large number of foreign people comes to the country. There is a high inflation. Money loses more and more of its value. Soon after this, there is revolution. Then the Russians attack the West overnight. Everybody is yelling peace, shalom. Then it happens. A new Middle East war suddenly flares up. Large fleets stand in hostility against each other in the Mediterranean. The situation is tensed, but the real igniting spark is thrown into the tinderbox on the Balkans. The Third World War will come, but I cannot predict the year. It will be preceded by signs in the skies, which will be seen by millions of people. War will begin on a rainy night, shortly before harvest time when the ears are full. War will begin after the assassination of an eminent politician in Czechoslovakia or in Yugoslavia. An invasion from the east will follow. I see 2 men who will kill the third high-ranking person. They have been paid to do so. One of the murderers is a small black man. The other is a somewhat taller white man. It could possibly happen in the Balkans, but I'm not sure about it. Prior to the war, there will be a fruitful year with good vegetable crops and plentiful fruits. After the murder of the third, war will erupt without warning during the night. I see dust, and I see 3 numbers. 2 8s and a 9. I do not know what the numbers mean, nor do I know the date and the time. While the Bavarians sit at a card game in Wirthaus, the strange soldiers will look into the windows and doors. A totally black column of people will come from the east. Everything goes quite quickly. From the Golden City, Prague, it moves out. The first worm goes from the blue waters of the Danube northwest to the Swiss border. By Regensburg there stands no more bridge over the river, but southerly from the blue water they will not come. The second great push will come over the Saxony westward towards against the Ruhr. The third army column from the northwest will go westward over Berlin. It all goes very quickly and fast. From the Danube to the coast will be controlled by the Greys. 2 fleeing refugee groups will cross the river. The third is lost and encircled by the enemy. Munich, South Bavaria, and Austria need not have fear. The enemy headquarters will be a red-roofed monastery whose altar faces north. I see the earth like a ball in front of me, above which only white clouds fly. 10,000 doves rise out of the sand and fly over us, but they do not drop down. But there where the headquarters of the others are, they throw black boxes, 25 centimeters high. There, everything is wiped out. Then the movement moves to the north and cuts off the Third Army. The great city of the United States will be destroyed by rockets, and the west coast will be invaded by Asians, but they will be beaten back. Then it rains a yellow dust in a line. The Golden Line. The golden city of Prague will be destroyed. It starts there. It continues in a straight line to the sea by the bay. The tanks drive, but those who sit inside are covered with death. There where the dust, falls, nothing will live. No tree, no flowers, no animals, no grass. Everything will wither and turn black. The houses will stand. What the dust is, I don't know and cannot say. It's a long line. He who crosses it dies. The soldiers of the east cannot cross to the west, and the soldiers of the west cannot cross to the east. The wind blows the deadly cloud to the east. Suddenly the eastern armies collapse. They throw away everything they carry with them, and they try to escape to the north. But none of them will return. But by the Rhine, things will be finalized. From the 3 army movements, not one soldier will be able to return home. There will be so many dead, thousands of bodies black. The rotting flesh falls from the bones. Then comes a single aircraft from the east. It throws a neutralizer in the great water by England. Then the water lifts in one single piece as high as a tower and falls back down. It makes an earthquake and a giant wave, and everything will be overflooded. Almost all of England and the European coast to Berlin will sink except for a few mountain peaks. Simultaneously, a new land will arise which existed earlier. 3 great cities will sink, one through water. The second will sink, and the third will just fall apart. The city with the steel tower will be set on fire by its inhabitants and will be leveled to the ground. Also in Italy it will be very bad. All priests except 6 will be murdered. The Pope will flee. Whoever lives south of the Danube need not worry about the Russians. The people between Waxman Mountain and Edelstein need not worry and will be isolated. Then from the Koln flies out the flaming tongue up to the north, west, and south. Only once will the tongue fly so shortly, then burns a small town north of Sarres. The Munich people will not have much happen to them, but there will be a little distress. But a great famine will come and will take the animals from the farmer. Then the farmer really has to set himself to the task, for they will try to steal the very underwear off of him. Simultaneously, there will stand up a large man, and at that point, the war stops. The whole thing does not take very long. The bearded people of 7 yesterdays will finally end, and their enemy will flee. On the riverbank, they will camp and fight with desperation. There, however, their might will be annihilated, their power broken, so that hardly one will remain alive to return home to report their defeat. I see 3 things, be they 3 days, 3 weeks, or 3 months. I don't know. In Russia, a new revolution will break out, and a civil war. The dead bodies will be so numerous that they will have difficulty moving them from the streets. The Russian people will begin to believe in Christ, and the cross will be honored once again. The leaders will kill themselves, and in the blood the blame will be washed away. I see a red mass mixed with yellow faces. I see a total uprising and a horrible massacre and plunder. Then they will sing the Easter song and burn candles before pictures of Mary. Through the power of the prayers of Christianity, this monster out of hell will die, and even young people will begin to believe again in the Virgin Mother of God. It will become dark one day during the year. Then a huge thunderstorm will appear with bolts of lightning and thunder, and an earthquake will move the earth. Do not go out of the house. No lights will burn except for candle lights. The stream of people stops. Whoever inhales the dust will develop cramps and die. Do not open the windows. Hand the windows with black paper on the glass. All open water will become poisonous, and all open food which has not been canned. Also, all foods in glass will not survive. Outside, the dust moves. Many people will die. After 72 hours, everything will be over. But I will say to you again, do not go outside. Do not look out of the window. Let the candles burn, keep watch, and pray. Overnight, more people will die than in the combined 2 world wars. Thereafter, the Pope will return, and the first great Te Deum will be sung in the Dome in Cologne. Then he will crown 3 kings, a Hungarian, an Austrian, and a Bavarian. The Bavarian is an old man with white hair, and he wears lederhosen. In the beginning there will be famine, but then the Danube returns to its level. Thereafter there will be so many groceries brought up the Danube that all will be fed. During this time the climate will change. It will become warmer, and the southern fruits and grapes will grow very well in Bavaria. And people will move there who want to, and everybody can live where they want to and have as much land as they can handle. The land north and east of the Danube will be resettled. There are only a few people left. Then the traveling salesman will say, "Buy my wares or I will go crazy." The sausages will spill from the plates. There will be such an abundance. There will come a long, happy time, and those who live to experience it will be very happy. So, in brief, Irlmaier's visions of the future play out something like this. Some have said that you can see that we are already on the path that he is predicting. I'll leave you to be the judge of that. But if for the sake of the argument we were to take his predictions seriously, they may go something like this. First, there's an economic vitality like never before. Think record low unemployment, the free movement of peoples, global economic interconnectedness on a level unparalleled in human history. Then a lapse of the faith follows, which can be understood as an age of secularism and rampant atheism of the kinds never before experienced in human history. Then comes a corruption of morals, again, like never before, which may include much of what we see today: a rejection of traditional marriage, promotion of deviant alternative lifestyles, abortion, promiscuity, gender ideology, dishonesty generally seen as a virtue, and a general age of evil things being called good. Then comes a huge number of strangers flooding the countries, is the terminology he used, which might be understood as the migrant crisis that is encompassing Europe today. The age of prosperity inevitably comes to an end via mass inflation. Paper money loses its value more and more, resulting in economic instability. Soon, according to what he has said, follows revolutions in Italy, Russia, and across the West. Overnight, the Russians invade Europe, and China invades the United States via Alaska, Canada, and bombings of the West Coast, though those invasions of the United States are short-lived and not successful. Again, I'll leave you to be the judge of all of this. There have been entire books written containing his predictions, including his predictions about technology and, curiously, productions of bombing sites in Germany during the Second World War that led to many civilian lives being saved. The veracity of his claims are yours to judge. If you like videos like this, like and share this video and subscribe, and click the notification bell below. If you're interested in supporting my work, there are various options in the description below, along with links to my social media, the Sources blog, and the Return to Tradition Facebook page. Thanks for listening. I'm Anthony Stein. Ave Maria.